Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be reviewing Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa. If you don't know already, this is part of my Asian themed readathon that I have going on. I decided after the Chinese New Year and in honor of the live action Mulan movie, which I hope is going to be spectacular, coming out in March, I wanted to read a bunch of Asian themed books, and this was actually one of them. So for those of you who don't know, Shadow of the Fox is about a half human, half kitsune or fox spirit girl and a shinobi samurai warrior, and pretty much they are put together on a journey to essentially take this object called the Dragon Scroll. So just to start off with, I really thought Shadow of the Fox was a fun ride. It pretty much read like an episodic anime. It really brought me back to watching episodes of Inuyasha when I was like growing up, where each chapter acts as like a different small side story. It has a new place, new problem to solve, and a new companion to pick up. So first of our two main characters is Tatsumi, the sad boy who was brought up in a ninja clan to be a soulless weapon of his people and kill demons, all the while trying not to be possessed by the very demon sword that he uses to kill said enemies. Now he's pretty straightforward, and he was competent in what he does, being a murderer of demons, and really anyone else he's supposed to be killing. He slowly kind of struggles to deal with his growing emotional attachment with his ragtag group of companions that are forced upon him, because really the whole thing with like his magic demon sword is that like it kind of pulls on emotions, so the more emotional you are, the easier it is for him to take over. The second of our two main characters is Yumeko. She is the half kitsune girl who is entrusted in protecting and delivering our plot device, the Dragon Scroll. Overall, there wasn't anything particularly bad about her, but I definitely had some issues with how she's used and the consistency of her character. So like Tatsumi is like really straightforward. There isn't really anything super unique about him. I don't know how many stories have like a person being controlled by just the whole idea of basically someone struggling with their inner demons. That's essentially Tatsumi's story. So he's pretty straightforward, whereas Yumeko, she kind of has a lot going on, and it's just not super cohesive how her character is developed. So in the beginning with Yumeko, we see a lot of her personality and how her powers work. She likes to take the easy way out using her powers. She's mischievous, she's playful, but this doesn't really follow for the rest of the story. So she's portrayed later as a kind, likes to save everyone she can, naive girl who just gives really good advice. Now this character isn't bad, but again, it doesn't really suit the character that was initially introduced to us. She doesn't really play any jokes. Her mischievousness is like all but forgotten. The author tries to use the excuse that she can't use her powers because her companions will know, and she's hiding the fact that she's a fox demon from her companions. But it actually would have been really interested to see how she would use her powers without them even knowing. I really feel like that's kind of the point of a fox, is to be deceptive. On the flip side of that though, it is actually interesting to see how she's still useful, part of their group without using her powers. So that was kind of cool to see. Another thing I don't really think I'm a fan of, which actually didn't play a part in the book at all, I guess it might come up in like the last two books, but at the very beginning she's like this prophesized chosen one. And I just think it's kind of unnecessary. I just think it would have been better just to say, oh hey, she's the only one left alive, she's the only one that can successfully deliver the scroll, have at it. Basically, she chooses to go on this adventure because she has no choice, but he kind of has to goad her into doing it because he says she's some sort of chosen one. Now when I originally did my review for this on Goodreads, I didn't actually think that maybe that could just be a lie, which I'm kind of hoping it is. She doesn't really mention it at all. She kind of just keeps doing it because she just thinks, oh, that's what I need to do. She doesn't think, oh, I'm prophesized to do this. But I'm hoping if this does come up later and she's just like, oh, I have to do this, I'm the chosen one, she eventually finds out that, hey, that was actually a lie just to kind of get you out and going or something. But this actually leads me to my next issue with the plot, and that there really wasn't a reason she had to be a kitsune. With her race and abilities, it didn't really suit the journey. The bad guy knew who she was and what she was and where they were all along. It's not like Yumeko was hiding the scroll and deceiving anyone except for her actual companions. So it's just kind of, again, it's not that it was bad, it just all these plot elements and character designs just didn't flow cohesively together. Lastly, they had this running gag with one of the companions who kept using sarcasm, but Yumeko was too naive to understand, so it was always lost on her. This kind of came off as really dumb because it seemed like something that Yumeko would be really familiar with. You know, I kind of imagined, I feel like she would be the one that's sarcastic to her monk friends or the people back at the shrine, and maybe it was lost on them because they're too straightforward and like kind of grumpy or whatever. And so if anything, I just would have switched this around, and I think it would have been funny that since everyone thinks that she is this sort of peasant girl, that they wouldn't think she knows what sarcasm is. And I think it would have been funnier and more akin to what her character should be if every time we use sarcasm and she just pretended she didn't know what he was talking about. So he's just like, oh, never mind, you understand what I'm saying, and just like inwardly she's just like snickering like, haha, I gotcha. So the next problem I kind of had is I didn't really like that they were creating this romance between the two characters.
Is that you, Inuyasha?
Don't think that you can escape from me, you naughty little rascal. I'm all yours for the taking, my sweet foxy darling. We're meant for each other.
I can't exactly remember their age, but they talk a lot about how they're just really young. And with Yumeko, I kind of got the impression that she was even too young to even fall in love or anything like that. It's sort of like Tatsumi's issue he's dealing with, like the girl he's falling for, and that's what he's like worrying about, and that's how he's gonna like fall to the dark side of his sword. I think it should have just been that the way Yumeko handled others with kindness that was never given to him, that he's starting to want to live another way, so she could influence his change without being the sole reason for it. I know, you know, this isn't my story, but I just had this impression with when he originally first gets healed, after like his first introduction, these people are just really rough with him, the way they like heal him and kind of just go on. It's like they show no kindness to him. And Yumeko kind of does that later. And I actually think that was a really sweet moment. When I first initially saw that, I was like, oh, that'd be cool if Tatsumi got healed later and whoever it was actually like a really gentle person towards him, and that's who he kind of starts falling for. But I kind of wanted it to be someone older and not Yumeko. Like I kind of wish they just would have kept them like as a mutual friendship where they just kind of just learn off of each other. Now, enough of some of the bad stuff. I want to get to some of the good stuff. I think chapter 14 was like one of my favorites. Really, any chapter where you see the drastic difference between Tatsumi and Yumeko. I just really liked how her first instinct is kindness and logic. Like our favorite proverb boy, Iroh from Avatar: The Last Airbender, I just love this line where the Ronin, the guy that she's talking to, he says, "Careful with wild dogs, they'll bite you." And Yumeko says, "It will protect you if you throw a crumb instead of a stone." So again, that's kind of like what she sort of brings to the table. And Tatsumi's kind of the exact opposite. He's just ready to like murder everyone because he doesn't trust anyone. However, going back to the negatives, this actually brings up a problem with how the author formatted her novel. Since it's sort of like episodic, there's no build-up and payoff. Like with this scene with the Ronin, there's actually one earlier with like a wind witch. She sets something up and it just immediately revealed by the end of that chapter, if not like the very next one. So it's just kind of like, oh, this could be really interesting. What's going to happen at the very end? It's like resolved. You're like, oh, okay. But anyways, this is going to bring my review to a close. I know it sounded like I had a lot of complaints, but I actually still enjoyed the read, and I still recommend it, and I rated it like a 3.5. So like I said, it was kind of fun. It's just sort of like, I mean, if you've watched anime, you kind of even know like anime isn't exactly super, deep or, groundbreaking. It's just sort of that, just this enjoyable story. I definitely want to pick up the next two at some point. So fun fact, I actually didn't realize I read one of Julie Kagawa's books. I actually ended up picking up one of her books. I don't remember the name of it, but I'll post it whenever I'm editing. I picked this up probably like 6 years ago, and it's actually like a spin-off of her regular series. So I didn't understand anything that was going on and ended up like not reading it at all. But yeah, I thought it was funny that I was like, oh hey, I actually know some of her work. I picked this up a long time ago. But yeah, I hope you guys like this one. Let me know what you thought about the book if you've read it. Recommend me any books that are kind of similar to this or that it may have reminded you of that you think I should pick up. Thanks, and I will see you all next time. Bye.
Trust you to be more impressed by noodles than by space travel. Oh, what's going on? Why is it so so dark?
I don't know, but something tells me it's trouble.
Lord Inuyasha, no littering.
This is no time to talk trash.